Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. So last week, we kind of got this prototype of what kind of interface we might want for a Twitch Decoder library. That's in one app right now. And it mostly won't conflict with the other stuff we currently have in the current version of the library. So I think I can move the prototype over to the library level and then start seeing how it plays out in the other applications we have to try and figure out if that is really a direction we want to go. And I think this was actually part of the prototyping work. Yeah. This is still maybe mostly the old style. This was kind of part of the new prototyping. All right, so we've got you. Now, we actually have to do a little bit of juggling here. Because right now, we've got the request. This is basically going to be a request module, which, at least for the time being, we can bring back and re-expose here. I guess you'd call this like request. And then this is going to change. Which.helix. Now you see, the awkward thing is when I was going to re-expose these, but the documentation for this module should probably use its fully qualified name. And this is going to change. Then we go back to this module, and it is going to do that. Oh, does this have to be before anything? Import which.helix.request. And this, and I'm wondering if I should just say CX. Rather than fully redocumenting it. And arguably send is all that I really use here. You could go down to request for the other stuff, or, well, assuming I expose request. It could be treated as an internal module. I mean, this is just a straight up pass through. The headers is meant to be, well, if that doesn't quite work for you, here's a little bit of help. All right, so now you don't directly import any of this stuff. Oops. Paste global. Actually, that stuff might actually be a little bit secondary. Now, all of this is going to have to get documented at some point. Oh, okay. So you're up here. And then, I guess the rest of these could just copy over just about. Okay, I had that for the base definitions, you for the host, you for that stuff. I'm not sure it would merge directories if I just copied the entire thing over. Although I'm not sure I did have the decode subdirectories before. Well, that's mostly going to be the same. Well, it's going to serve the same purpose. I don't know if it'll really copy over. And all those names need to get fixed up. Okay, that should be centralized. And probably user ID. Host ID is a user ID. Now, these were the only fields I used in the other application. Well, that's nothing. It might be the only thing using hosts. Ooh. If there's a thing called user ID, I'm not going to be able to maintain this style. Oh, you know what? That was separate here because this is the only Kraken module I have. Yeah, now you see this does exposing dot. But I could see that being a problem for other things where there is like a user ID or whatever. And I think I was thinking that response could possibly be a generic one as well. Oh, what I didn't do was make this Twitch. Okay, clip ID, you're going to have to be Helix, just in case we get something that has a self-named field like that. You can't just import everything. Response, Maybe that should actually be at the top of the file. So URL broadcaster ID is going to be a user ID. URL clip ID. We're not running any compilers on this right now. Nor are we doing, did I do any tests for this? Test persist. We're still kind of in the prototyping phase. To that end, hosting clips. Watch that. I have a decoder module here, which used a bunch of this stuff, which should flip straight over to that. This is in clip dot, right? Yeah, so that's in U. We used to be doing everything. Oh, your watch probably isn't watching the Twitch library, is what that comes down to. Okay, so there's that, and then I think it's just hosting clips itself. And that actually used the standard Helix and Kraken calls, which, despite moving the module, actually should probably still work. Okay, so at this point, so we move that, we move that, we move that. It's all the file changes there. Okay. We've got the Twitch library. So Helix. Oh, I never checked any of this stuff in, huh? Yeah, that was workout. Helix changed. And got a lot of blank space. And then was Decode just the new clip fields, which were kind of obviated. No, we exposed timestamp and duration so that we can... Although really, those need to go someplace else. Actually, that was probably for stream credits. Okay, so there's kind of two things here. So decode and decode test were one. Although really that test is going to end up getting rewritten too. And really that stuff is, I think it's going to move into just plain helix. Add rework prototype. All right, so the other one we've definitely worked on recently is you. If I'm going to be actively working here, it might be worth adding that to the watch list. Twitch API source. Oop, no, we're there. All right, so stream credits. Okay, so this is a local module. Oh, no, yeah. Kraken was for, so this is going to go away. Actually, all this decode, we're going to want a local decode module. Let's see, so module, decode. And what do we need to decode? We're probably going to need a user and a follow and a subscription. And I need to know what types I'm going to use these things as. I probably have to take this incrementally, though. To accomplish this, stream credits has to deal with hosts, right? Hosts, Kraken.host. So, objectively even first. I guess it is technically hosts and users, isn't it? converting from the other one. I don't have anything common in Kraken right now. Okay, so Kraken.host is that. Do I do a my host? We have my host ID and host display name, which I never fully converted this one, I guess. Should I even still call this? Yeah, I do. I guess I'm still using that record, which had to dummy something in there. So my decoder, I mean, I guess if you're going to put something there. Yeah, because we've only got host ID so far. So for you, host is going to be a decoder. Oh, and I haven't done my JSON decode stuff. Decoder. List of, I mean, really, this should be, it should kind of just be user IDs. But then I'll still need a host a my host step to turn it into a two thing. Host comes from the view. Should I maybe move the data types in here? Because either my view depends on my decoder or my decoder depends on my view it this way. I don't think, let's see, raids and cheers come from chat. And host is actually just going to be a host.response of our host. No, decoders need constructors, which I guess that would be the constructor. That is a decoder. This is a small one of the host ID. And the host ID, I guess. Now, we're not necessarily including this in our compile yet. Nope, that is just Decode. So first of all, there's import. That might get the compiler to notice it. Hasn't bothered yet. So when we go to do this, which really comes back to this, which is going to change the type of this as well. This now gets back a list of our host. And decodes it with decode.hosts. And Gregor's man, thank you for the follow. Decodes it with hosts, and then we do not do the map here. We just say, we're not even Twitch hosts now. This is just that. We left the Twitch host somewhere. All right, so we have to do that with I could still just decode this as a list of user IDs and then do the structure mapping here. So that's one of the things we have to do with it is the list of user IDs anyway. I think we're still going to need the view for other things. That would make this a list of user IDs. Which would just make this host.host ID? Okay, so that's not going to compile because now they're all mismatched. That's going to make this go back to a list.map. And this does not have to map out. Oh, and our tagger is going to be different. Have I pulled in that symbol here? I have not. There's a list string list host, but it should be a list host. Okay, so we declared something off here. No, wait. Oh, I didn't give you the list. Okay, so that's one down. So users is going to be, do we use it? It's not a view user. What do we do? We get user names. Oh, we actually might have two decoders here. No, I think I was using the Twitch user directly and just pulling out a small number of fields. So we've got user ID, user display name, and then we've also got self, which is user ID, that's model.user ID, user.id, user.id, user.login. So this is actually going to be kind of the same as the other one. We just need those couple of fields. Let's see, where was your decoder? So you defined the user and then the decoder for the user. So you have to expose a user type, decoder for it. That by itself is just new exposures, shouldn't change anything. That user type will only kind of be used in here. I don't know if we need to actually type anything as that. So you, instead of a Helix user, you're going to be our user. So user names will still have user ID, user display name. We'll still have user login, user.id. So this would just be, it was a helix.users. This becomes a decode.users. But it is list user. We're only using it for... no, actually, I just wanted barrier. We're only using it for this, so we'll just fully qualify it. Okay, so that works. We've got a helix.follow. Which that has a view type. From name followed at. Those might match up with Twitch fields. From name, from name. There's a time conversion here. I always decode in Elmish times, but for this app I decided that straight up millis would be easier to work with. And that can all happen in the decoder. Follows is going to be a decoder of... Oh, this is going to require some library stuff again. I don't think we'd had this one before. Is a follow.response. And a follow is a decoder of of one follow. And that is going to be, for us to map to of the follow, which is going to be a follow.fromName. Yep. And a map of POSIX to millis from a followed at. I mean, or I could drop down to plain old decoders and just decode this as a number, because that's what it is. I have to get into the exact field name then. All right, so is this syntactically correct? It is not syntactically correct. Well, because we're relying on libraries that don't exist. Well, actually, kind of like host, but... oh. No, we've actually kind of got two things here, too. So structurally, it's going to be kind of like that. Yeah, we're not making a folder or anything. The decoder that we currently have has follows in it. So it's going to have the follow type that, well, this is completely decoded. We don't have a type for this. What it does have, okay, so you are, yeah, response data, and I still have to decide if I want to do a generic version of this for Helix. Okay, and the fields we're using right now for prototype purposes are from name and followed at, which gets us into our timestamp issue. Oop. You're an easy one to fill in. Okay, now timestamp would have been in our previous decoder module. I think this moves into our generic little Helix header. So all of our support stuff. Well, yeah, these are decoders. Okay, so follow. Or followed at. Oops. What did I do here? Is a decoder of POSIX. If you're going to do POSIX, it's tempting to put an alias around timestamps as well, similar to we've done strings. But I guess people are going to care about how they deal with that. We still need the time library. Oh, and you're going to need ISO in here. To actually be able to execute that. Oh, it actually was timestamp. Oh, did we not? Yeah, we never redid our exposures. Cannot find a follow.response. Oh, have I not? I probably haven't imported you yet. I guess we technically did host user. Host name. Oh no, from name. It's not host name. Time.poly. Okay. That's in. It's on you. You didn't really deal with POSIX, did you? Okay, so that checks out in a time basis. Now we are doing new fields here, so there actually does start to be a risk that we've typoed a field name or something. Okay, that looks like names. Well, have I actually swapped this in, though? Or have we just defined the stuff in this file? We have not. And that's going to change our type at... was it a type? Oh, actually, wait, is follows? Oh, we've even had one. The Rigors man. This is going to be a decode.follow, which actually this is yes, but that was actually we defined that in our view and pulled it into here. And follows. Let's look at my follow. Yeah, so follow.followed at. So actually, I don't need this step now, technically. I could check if hosts needs that too. Okay, you were doing model and then something else with the raw data. Okay, so Decode was also looking at subscriptions. Now, I guess I'd been calling this subs here, or I've been calling that name subs. It's probably long in the Helix stuff. Oh, now subscriptions might be no, yeah, it's a list of all subs. Yeah, helix.subscription. So do we have a my sub? We have a my sub. So we want username, user ID, display name, months, points. I guess I can set this up to time when things maybe kind of work. And this is our view sub. So we already have that. I'm just wondering if I should flip these definitions to decode module, but it's like, it's what the view displays. It's also what we decode. It doesn't have clear ownership there. And then a sync, actually this is gonna look a lot like user, isn't it? And this one is 4 fields though, so we're starting to get kind of long. Now on the Twitch side, it probably is going to be subscription. You see, this is going to be probably a user ID, which is where that name collision I was worried about, and it is. Looks like it's username at that level. And then months and points, we actually are doing a transform on. Now, this is perhaps a little bit awkward because it puts this calculation in the decoder, but I guess it sort of works. So that's we expect there to be a subscription module. Which of course there isn't yet. It probably look a lot like user though. User ID, decode. All right, so you are going to have a user ID and a username from the looks of things, and a response, and we eventually want to get all the fields, but to see if this makes sense for these apps. Okay, so you are going to be a user ID, which is where we left the helix prefixed. Oh, that's a Twitch ID decode. Subscription. Oh, now you see it's broadcaster ID here. Why was I getting it out as user ID? Oh, okay. Broadcaster, the user subscribing to broadcaster. Got ya. User ID, username, which is in fact user ID and username. And the order of these will actually need to change once we start bringing this more in line with Twitch talks. Months. Oh, just months was 0, so that's not a decoded thing. It does have to be a map 4, though. That's something... Is gift tier plan name. That must only be for announcements. And we are just treating it as a string right now, because we just kind of look at it and say, well, we think it looks like this. I mean, I could try to do a light decoding on that, but you never know what's going to show up in the future. I guess there's always, like, unknown. They seem to have left some space in the middle there. All right, what's off? Okay, username. Typoed that. 5 arguments because, okay, we still need some parentheses. Okay, so that works. Well, that compiles. And it gets a subscriber list. Okay, so the other thing we identified up front were bits leaders, which that will immediately break the compile. So a bits leaders is going to be a decoder of a list of bits leader. Yes, we had hit helix bits leader, which what were we doing with that? Twitch bits leaderboard. So we had a my bits leader, which took it down to 3 fields, and I called that a cheer. Well, this is an application-specific decoder, so it can do that. And we did not... Oh, yeah, okay. We did have that there. Equals... I guess it's going to be bits leader. Now, should I call this a cheer decoder? Maybe we have something for cheers as well? Actual cheers? It's a decoder of a cheer. And we have 3 fields, which look a lot like a user. We have an ID, so this is going to be a bitsleader.userid, a bitsleader.username, and a bits leader.score. None of which exist. User is still in a bad starting place because we've got a couple of similar fields. Actually, from user ID? No, we haven't got this indexed yet. Subscription might be closer. Now, actually, I want to check the docs here. Because it might be bits leaderboard, which is a mouthful, but you can always alias it on the import. Get bits leaderboard. So they put it under the group bits. But if we're going to have one thing per request here, then it actually kind of would be bits leaderboard. We're just going to change all this stuff. Yeah, user ID, username, score is what we have so far. User ID, username, score. Oh, yeah, and that was bits leader board. Bits leader, you had a rank and a score. In both cases, they're int. How far off are we? We didn't change our declaration. Bits leader board. We have no leaderboard right now. Actually, no, that's gifts. Didn't we have one last week? Well, no, it's rolled off. This is source decode. Oh, bits leaders. Okay, so probably it was this, and that's what we're getting it from. And I guess we call that still got a bits leader. All right, now okay, so you get a decode. Actually, no, cheer we've imported from view. Okay, so some of this stuff, which was actually, I guess, some of my original tests for this, is actually out of date now. And actually, this should just be liters. And we have to supply a different decoder for that. Where'd my other browser go? There it is. Now this is really just, it runs. Which is probably why I had those test statements. I've not put test stuff in. Oh, and I have to relocate my sample things too. So, oh man, this is old. Oh, did I not have this in Helix? Sample subscription. Right, we called it subs in this one, because that's kind of how we're using it. Oh boy. Do we lose a parenthesis somewhere? Oh no, I changed this so that subscriptions take something else, an offset for our paging. Wow, this is some old stuff. All right. So you're the decoder. Wait. I didn't change you. I don't know why those types worked. I guess because all the fields matched up? Because I didn't change this one. And all the fields matched up? Oops. Oh, yeah, I know, and yeah, I never did this. Okay, so that's list sub, but we are still off by the paginated, which I think is just Helix paginated. Oh boy. In keyword next. Okay, initial model, apply that. So I guess we've got a parentheses off somewhere. Yeah. That's the decode. Wait, did you need 2 of these? Maybe not. He looks that paginated. Okay, so the tuple is for the update. I feel like this thing got much longer when it was first defined. So we're passing an initial model. The message. Right, so that's the result of processing the update. You actually are part of this. Or part of that. If there was any other type of error, we have to turn it into an HTTP error to match with the decode here. Now wait, what turns that into a result? And did this app do centralized error handling? It did. So subscription shouldn't have to deal with errors. So I guess that's very old then. But the decode can still have decoder errors. And this is not a result. So I guess these things are just dead. Well, I can decode you to an empty list, right? Does that make sense? The inner result of the decode it should not be an HTTP error now. Result decode error. Oh, it's not just a list A. Well, you know what? Subs we've got. Unfortunately, we have the same problem here. So this might be something where I do more of a test suite. On the Twitch side, and we just kind of hope. Now this is the decoder here, which still has to do streams. Does this need streams? Why does it need streams? I guess to see if you're live. Stream start. helix.stream. So what do you need? You only need the start time. Who else had the timestamp thing? Was that Clips? No. Follow? Yes. The other app will have a lot more to say about this. We can probably leave that in. We know we're going to need it. Is this perhaps stream start? No. Started at. It's just a timestamp. There's no type for it. I don't think we have anything that's quite that simple. I mean, hosts almost should be that simple. Oh, no, yeah, it kind of is. Now, would this really be streams? So on that end, we're only caring about the first one. And that is doing the conversion at the app level, which, fine, we can do that here. So you're going to be an int, right? So you could pull out one. This has to do a map of time.posix to millis of stream.started at. Okay. Current stream is a I guess just a list of int. Which would really just make it a start time, but helix.streams. This is now decode.streamtimes. And I believe we use that to get the follow list and then filter it down to current session. Yeah, okay, so that looks good. So, does that mean... Well, I guess the things we would care about would be where are we using Helix? Helix paginated, which is kind of like my little submodule. These things should go away. This must be... Yeah, this is from a chat, from a chat, from a chat. Helix.subscription. Kraken.host. So we still have to do the fetch hosts from Kraken. That should be able to go away. I guess it's okay. And Helix dot. Well, Helix real dot. So paginated is local. My follow. Send. Paginated. Send. So we shouldn't need that. All right, so I think you're kind of okay with this interface. We've got this whole Decode module, which mostly just took over the MIs. Maybe a little bit more verbosely, but it means we're decoding a lot less fields. Is the other one offhand? Well, I don't think I've updated that one for a long time. Which actually put videos back, so it's not as useful. No, it's Elm Reactor. And you also need to be temporarily modified to notice changes in Elm. Rather in the library. Okay, you've got like a bunch of argument stuff. Okay, I think we're fine, but just in case. All right, and locally we have... Oh. Ah, yes, all the WebSocket stuff. I guess for testing purposes, we watch ourselves. Okay. And expose... Well, we use so much of stream, we just use that as our type. Well, that'll be fun. Well, it's not in... It is in the model. Which means we have to figure out how much of it we're actually using. So what else are we actually using? So there's some user stuff. There's some game stuff. There's some video stuff. So there's a whole bunch of users, so I guess it's a place to start. And let's see, we've got a couple of other things. Okay, now that's you. That's that. This is the other decode where we had, well, we've got a bunch of boilerplate stuff. Okay, yeah, that was the other app. The type should almost been first. And these were things specific to that app. And just specific to that app. So let's start with that. All right, so, oh yeah, this is the new copy. Hostable. What do we actually use out of here? That's thought login. Login. We've got channel login. We've got import user. Which might cover most of the other things. So ID display name. Yeah, ID login display name. Now we've got a user type here, which just comes out from our persist module. Actually, that tells us exactly what we're using. ID, okay, yep. As far as, well, not the fields we pull out. But it does tell us that in this case, our user type, oh, but I do have to have a decode user because we use the login field, and that's not in persist. Oh, are you using the local Twitch library yet? Because you weren't one of my, yeah, because you didn't depend on the hosting change. This is more of just a API user test. Okay, it didn't see that as a change. Actually, oh. No, we need u/source. Oh, right, and then we have to remove that as here, and then that in turn is going to cause some other things that are going to have to move up to direct imports. Yeah, they're both ends. Okay, so that's compilable. All right, so these are all local modules. I don't think I've been alpha ordering so far. Probably want to use persist user as our main user. And was there not a helix dot e? Oh, because I got capital. And there's still going to be an import step here because we're mapping to a local type. For the cases where we do that. Twitch.helix.user, twitch.helix. Boxing. Okay, so that seems okay. And we've tested all of the user decode methods that we're using here so far. So we know we're getting the right fields out. What else do you need? We need games and we need videos. I kind of wanted to find the capital games. Right, we've got import games. So what's the there is the import step here, but that's adding things that don't correlate at all. So we're not really getting rid of the mapping stage. We're just cutting down the number of things we're parsing out. Although I guess I could be doing this at my decoder level. There's no real reason not to. The reason, okay, in the user case, we do have to, because we use login independently of the import user thing. Okay, so self only uses the login field. Channel only uses the login field. It's self and channel. So I could actually have two decoders here. I guess this would be logins. Unless I do that in someplace else. And actually, no, it's just user.login. Which is just going to call that a user ID. No, it's just a username, is just a string. Then this type doesn't need login to start with. But now we're going to have a bunch of breakage here. So, so self and channel And this is going to be a decode.user. So this is going to users. This is going to channel. So this is a decode.logins. And there's a user update. This is an unknown users hosting user. There's the self. Map 3. All right, we dropped this out of here. We did not drop it out of here. Now it's a map 2. Okay, that all seems okay. So now, import persist. We're only going to we're really only going to mention these types once. So you're not going to have an alias. This is going to map exactly. You are going to be a decoder, and you are going to be a decoder of persist.user and persist.user. Okay, so we're going to mention it 3 times. And it's going to be map 4 now. So ID, display name, and then... Now, admittedly, the structure format was a little bit nicer in that it gave you named fields. Okay, so that we don't expose our own user type. And that's going to break everything here. That's still fine, that's still fine, that's still fine. Decode.user, decoder.user. There we go. This is going to be user. Right, what does this do? Okay, just marking them as persisted. Oh, so you don't need to do anything. That's the decoder, that's the type. I think that's all the places we use it. Okay, oh, import user. Well, doesn't exist. Now, I don't know if we actually had to fetch anybody there. But that should be all of our all of that stuff. Let's see. There's a long-running stream. Or actually, the other thing to do here is we just remove that. And fetch it again, and it should be fine. Okay. And then import game needs ID, name, and box art URL. Now, game ID is actually putting us back to our base little Twitch thing a little bit, I guess. But this is going to be, I guess they'll make it like user. This is a persist.game. Yep. And well, we've got import game. Is a one it's going to map for. It is a game.id, a game.name, a game.boxartURL, and a succeed nothing, which is the score. None of which will work right now. Let's see, that'll be kind of close to a user. ID, name, box art URL. Which Helix user ID. I guess it's less easier to expand this way. Okay, ID of game ID. I'm assuming that these fields are named how they look. But we can check on that. Helix Decode. ID, name. Oh, actually, that's it. I mean, I could check the docs, see if there's anything else. I know they added the... it's some sort of GameDB thing. Nope, that's it. Okay, so actually I think that's all you have. So that... But this is a new file. It might have not have been watching a new file. Oh, probably didn't import it. Box art URL name score. Box art URL, box art URL. Game, games, user. Okay. This is a bunch of decoders for the API responses. I had like 3 different apps that were well, there's one kind of obsolete one that might make it at least 4. That do stuff with the API, and I found that I was kind of like copy pasting things around and having to make changes multiple times. So I tried making it a library. It's kind of a thin library. I do things. Viewer channel points. They did a channel points API. I don't think that there's a one to get the viewer channel points. There's maybe it's point rewards. Channel. Create custom rewards. Get custom rewards. I thought they'd. Yeah, maybe it was only rewards. But I thought there was something like just in like the last update that was something to do with channel points. But it's probably still like the reward queue and the rewards themselves. There's redemption. Yeah, I know they're never going to do something that lets you just arbitrarily change the points. So I don't know if they necessarily do something to get the list of values. That's custom reward, redemption status, update get redemption, update redemption status. Yeah, you have to run your own point system for that. Maybe it was custom rewards, but I thought that was like I guess they're calling it the channel. That they sometimes loosely call it the channel points API, but it's in here as custom rewards. All right, so this is compilable. We haven't tried using it yet. So this should just be a game. Which we go Nightbot commands. Okay. Well, yeah, right now it's mostly look at this documentation. And I think they're making some efforts to keep it up to date. Oh, well, we're in a weird point in the. Oop, nope, I didn't want that. I wanted to close this thing. Because I navigated while this was open. I don't know. Oh, actually, that put us off the reference. They talked about doing a data format or a data-based thing. Or it's like a structured API reference, so that in theory you could have like produce the libraries from that or something. This format of it, I mean, there's some type decisions that would have to get made, but You might be able to do some of the boilerplate. Okay, so you should go away. And we have to deal with you. So this is now a decode.games. Okay. Okay. Yeah, it gets complicated with the pagination and stuff. And Flappy, thanks for the follow. All right, so I think that's all the game stuff. What else? Yeah, I didn't prepare a list for myself. Like last time. So we have some video stuff. What are we getting out of videos? We are taking 2 fields out. After, in this case, filtering them, so we kind of need 3. Oh, yeah, this would affect schedule from videos too. Notepad++, maybe? This is gvim, which is like a GUI version of Vim, which is VI improved. So it's a little bit archaic, but it has the concept that you are in command mode and you are in text mode. And yes, I get confused a lot. But when you're in command mode, you have your full keyboard just to do commands. And so I can do change word and replace that entire thing. Or I don't know if I have a good example handy. But if you've got a longer string and you want to do like change in quotes, they can do that to start typing. And there's stuff like that. And there are probably commands like that in other things. They mostly end up being like Control and Alt and things like that, though. Partly I learned it just because VI is one of those things that's kind of everywhere. And at some point I got tired of, doing the hot new editor of the month. All right, we were looking at videos. Yeah, that'll only take a couple of years. We did not have an explicit import step for us. No, programming language. Yeah. Jonathan Blow's been doing that. He's probably going on like 5 years just doing the language so far. I think he's been trying to resist making his own editor, but who knows? All right, so we needed a video type, which is a partially decoded field, credit, and duration is the extra special interesting one. Oh, yeah, that I could see. It's going to be a weird thing. I'm not sure I can do the filter here on the decoder side. It'd be an interesting exercise, though. Yeah, I think I would decode everything, but I would have to apply an operation to the list. I can imagine mapping over the list after decoding it. Or maybe we like decode this field and check it. So that's saying decode a list of these things. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to decode the video type out as a list before I could do any kind of filtering on it. There might be a trick to do it. Depend on previous values. This stuff is all on one monitor. I have a second monitor with a lot of my other, with OBS and chat and other things. I am using like the Windows snap to side to split it nicely and stuff. And then I just end up overlapping stuff in inconvenient ways everywhere else. I wanted to play with tiling window managers at one point, but there really aren't any good ones for Windows that I've found. I have at times wanted a third monitor. That was mostly when I was like doing multiplayer games where I wanted to track the stream stuff, the game, and like Discord things. Well, I mean, the scrolling text is probably just a fancied up version of, terminals and things. Or even the text editors. Huh. So I have to map out an intermediate format. And then do I have a... Do I have a structure for what that is? Where is it in the model? No. This goes into model.events, which is a list of event, actually, which is from schedule graph. So I'm actually going to have to map this to an intermediate structure. I guess I could map it to a nested structure. Or to a tuple. And I might be able to do a filter map on the resulting structure. Hmm. Hmm. We're going to have a videos decoder. I guess really it's going to be kind of an event, isn't it? From the perspective of the outside. And we're only going to be using this in our decoder here. Now this is actually going to be, we're going to decode a video. And then we're going to have to do some mapping on that. I know I'm going to need 3 fields. We're going to have, and it's came back on videos. Yeah, that's a decent technobabble. So we're going to have a video.video, or these are the fields we're going to need. A video dot created at and a video dot duration. Now, I want to ultimately make an event. We also need the video type. We're going to throw it away. So maybe we go ahead and just deal with the substructure instead of building it twice. So that's going to be those 2 things. That's going to be a map 2. And then you're going to be a map 2 of tuple pair of that and a singular event. And then this is going to be the response. And I think I can just go into a map over list.filter, well, of this, except mapped. And this is going to be a video.archive. And it's not going to be this. This is going to be a filter map. I think we have that. I think that's a method. Filter map. Okay, thanks for hanging out. Well, that means we have to go to a maybe. So you're a video type and well, we called event our decoder. And since we have to go to a maybe, then this all gets very verbose and awkward. And thanks for the bit. Is it actually easier to Do a filter and a map. I guess it saves us constructing the new list. Or I do the straight up decode as a video type and then deal with the conversion to events. All right, so none of this is going to be compile happy. Well, actually, if we're not calling it yet, we just have to make sure. Well, yeah, the Twitch library doesn't exist yet. Is clip maybe the closest thing we've got right now? It doesn't have a start time. Maybe it was follow. Yeah, follow at. Source, Twitch, Helix. All right, so our initial prototype set of fields is video type, created at, and duration. So right now we don't have any of this stuff. Video type is going to be a little bit, okay, so this is going to be created at. We did a little custom thing for video type, which I guess that is probably only going to be relevant from videos. And that's and then there's your decoder for video type. Well, this is the video type. What do we call that? Because we also want to do a thing like this. It's a decoder of video type and pulls out the video type field. Oh no, it's just type. Okay, that's a type video type. Oh, type is probably a reserved Elm name. Okay. So that's why it's varied. And then we have created at. And duration is an extra special thing. We did that as an int. Actually, how often does duration show up in here? I know I've got you. Oh, so yeah. Here we've got the duration value versus, but that could come down to we do put all our types in a different module. Okay, actually, this is the only thing that has that. So technically, if we did isolate duration to here, then you would not need to, entail. Well, I've already sort of done that by referencing send from the main helix, which I think that's something we may have to flip back, so you'd have to depend on HTTP. Well, that's at the module level. Maybe the compiler can strip it out, but that would be a little bit cleaner that way. I do have the duration parser already as its own thing. So we've got duration. But this is going to have to become like duration value if we're going to do a thing like this. Which I'm not liking how this naming scheme is working out. Actually, I was thinking that this would go into the helix thing. But then you have to depend on all the parser stuff. Yep, that wrong window. That means... Actually, yeah, Twitch. Well, and this. Okay, They could go into there. And then video already has helix. So your duration is a helix.duration. Video.archive. Indeed, it probably does not. Oh, and we have to expose also your bits. Cannot find a V. Okay, we pulled that out as a separate thing. Trying to expose. Right, we ended up saying this is just going to be events. Map 2 produces decoder of... Oh, right, we never updated our type definition. We were trying to figure out what it was going to be. And then we have to use that. So videos, what are for user ID? So really we should be, there's probably a lot of places in here we could be doing this. List of event. fetch videos, and then this is a decode.events out of the videos. Okay, we have not pulled this in yet. So this is going to be a Twitch Helix exposing user ID. Let's see, in the test for that would be, now this stuff can be cached. I don't remember if that gets cached if we reset. Who are we gonna test with before? CDN? No. CDN. Okay, so that seems to be all working fine. Okay, so helix.send, helix.decode, helix.send, send, send, send. And then we did not prefix, yeah, helix.streams. So the tricky part here is almost going to be figuring out what fields we actually use from streams. It was enough just to adopt the type from there. Streams. Interesting that I ran things that way. Not sure how that came about. Okay, so these things are mentioning streams. Live streams. I might almost just have to set up an empty structure and see how much we're using. And this will have a type. I wonder if it's legal to have an empty type. I mean, we can probably guess some of the fields. Like there's a user ID. You can see that in the filter. Oh, that might be users, though. No, that's over streams and live streams. And that looks like a stream.username as well. So that's a start. This is going to be our local stream type. Not persist. Start off at a map 2. This might get to enough fields. We want to use a pipeline format. But I don't have any pipeline in this file yet, so it's a little bit of trouble to go get it set up. All right, that won't compile because we don't have our Twitch library yet. I guess I'm not actually cross-referencing these much. Instead, what I'm cross-referencing is the compiler. What did I do? I don't know what I did there. So we said that user is going to be a little bit close to this. Oh no, we do already have a stream. Because we have started at. User ID, user ID, user ID, user ID, username. Just going kind of assuming fields here. Okay, that's compilable, but we haven't tried to plug it into the rest of our stuff yet. So, Helix stream. Our local decode. And of course, now all our types have to match. You'll be fine because we just changed what that referred to. The full name, please. We checked those fields. User ID. Okay, so you're fine. Fetch unknown follows, user ID. Fetch expired follows. User ID. And if we switch this over so it matches the call we're using. Now there was two of these. Weren't there? Oh, it was just stream. Channel stream, yes. This is probably like a self-reference or something. That's model. If we're able to fetch it, then it's live. We actually don't care about the value of it. I guess we decode this, but we could technically decode nothing. Or decode it as like succeed true or something. Because that's all we're getting out of it. We do have to deal with it as a list. Well, we'll do that at first. Maybe we can loop back to that later. Decode. Okay, I probably didn't expose that. List stream. Okay, so we have a game ID. Fancy that. Fetch next game batch. Yep. Wait, didn't game have? But we didn't have to reference it anywhere because it was a persist game. Language started at tag IDs, thumbnail, title, viewer count. Okay, yep, there's the list. And that is going to be something that goes into pipeline. Actually, I know that the old decoders were all in that style. In fact, my old stream decoder is going to get a little bit close to this. We just have to pick out the fields. Oh, or am I referencing the Twitch stream somewhere in our type? Which is like maybe view. Whoop. And we're not actually using all of those fields. So that one I'm thinking I might leave for a little bit. Maybe game ID should be, right, we have to add this to the Twitch library. It's going to look just like that. I think we did that. And it has to be exposed. Okay, so you're just complaining about the type mismatch, but where are we actually using that stuff? Yeah, there's game ID. It's like, I don't know that I could see using some of those things. Like thumbnail URL, title. I don't think I use tag IDs anywhere. Maybe my view is up. Yep. Actually, this is probably the only reason you imported that. Viewer count. Okay, so we got, yeah, viewer count is something we actually use. Oh, we messed this up somewhere. Oh, I see what happened. We got it in the middle of stuff. This has got to be an integer. And then we have to have this in our... Did I not make a... Okay, so you have the field. This has the type. Oh, that's the other decode. Thumbnail URL. All right, this is getting large enough. I should probably switch it over. All right, so I just need you out of my way right now. So that's this. So you become succeed. Oop. And we're back to, we have a new field to add. Oh, okay, so field name, so get rid of type error. And then you have to have that as an exported field. Or exported function. You're a string. And we do use title. This is probably why I just used that one, because it was so close to total. Which makes me wonder if I should actually include a total decoder. Did I ever fix view? Oh, stream view. Why do we use channel ID? ID, user ID. Okay, that's how we did ID. Maybe I was trying to... But there's a user ID. Okay, so I was trying to distinguish channel ID from user ID. Because it has both fields. Yeah. Oh, right, a stream ID. Wait. That probably isn't a channel ID. It's probably actually a stream ID. That's a much larger number. So what do I use that for? Ah, IDs as we move between, as we rebuild things. Okay. So channel ID is the wrong word here. We just want to call that stream ID. Yeah, it's a stream ID. All right. So at the Twitch level, well, we've been setting up our calls first. Decode. Now, see, properly speaking, this would be a stream ID. Which means we have to do... User ID we use a lot. Actually. I don't necessarily need these a lot here. Okay, so it's going to be very unhappy about all of that stuff. So we have Helix. We're doing all of our type aliases. Oop, case issue. So that's one. And then I'm adding these things, but really ID seems like a good one to have first. And I probably was exposing this because like we just used user ID and a bunch of stuff. There's like really only one per decoder in most places. Did I mess up my count of fields here? Oh, yeah, we never added you. And then back in our view, channel status. Okay. So in the final accounting, that's probably why we were just using it, because it's a lot of the same fields. Well, these are annoyingly in opposite windows. And now it's confused. It's just confused. Should have been ID, user ID, channel name. User ID, username, game ID, title. And we might want to match this to documentation order for final version. Oh, this one doesn't need started at. Language and yeah, those like there's like 2 or 3 fields we're not using. But send. And we can fully switch over to that interface. Well, actually, come to think of it, I'm not sure that schedule from videos is doing this anymore because we had this, because of the extension, I think I switched over to all backend stuff. Yeah, it has no direct dependency on the Twitch library. That all got pushed into the Lambda. And the Lambda... Did I end up... Yeah, I did end up using it. Really just for that duration parser, I think. I'll certainly need a different fetch method. I guess I could have used those parsers. But conceivably, that could be doing a little bit less work if it switched over as well. There's an event decode. Oh, right. This is the event in its thing. Oh, yeah. User ID, username. I guess we're only like getting like very little bits of information. Well, there's a duration in here somewhere. Oh, but it ends up in the compiled file. No. Okay, so I guess we're relying on that to do the decoding. List video, list video. There's an encode, interestingly enough. But it has to talk about the type. Once again, in the JavaScript, you have that decoder. Helix videos. Yeah, decode.map filter. And we also ended up mapping it. Fetch videos. Wait, so this is a 2HTTP for our command. HTTP error, got videos. Okay, so we took we fully decoded the videos and then passed that through to be re-encoded. So it's kind of a pass-through operation. Well, I guess this is maybe doing a... no, that's user ID, username. Yeah, so we could add a little custom decode module to that if we wanted to decode less. All right. So that is most of our applications. It's not technically this thing. This is probably the main place we use it. Yeah, and then there's user, for which we're using like 2 fields. This is a little bit scarier to update, though. And after my other experience, I don't expect it to necessarily be that different either. Now, this did have the advantage that we never had to touch the module that depended on HTTP, although I think that did put it into our Elm indirect dependencies. Whereas we kind of end up with a transitive dependency on that now, module-wise. So the debate is, do we require you to do specifically helix.request to get those methods? And you can combine them back down. So that might, it's more of a compatibility break. That might be a thing to do, just to kind of keep that cleanly separated. And I guess since we're adding Kraken back in this iteration, we should probably do Kraken request as well. And hosts have already been done in this style. All right, so that should get flipped back. This we might just leave alone. I guess you have the problem that since we're decoding the entire thing, a change in an irrelevant field could get us at some point. That's part of what inspired this entire project. All right, I'm going to take a short break. I think I'm going to make request modules. And then we have to start thinking about covering all of the fields, documentation strings, and all that other annoying stuff to fill it out. I'll be back in a few minutes. What? Oh. Well, I mean, there's worse places to do it. Oh, you impossible idiots. Oh my god, I almost lost the entire colony.
It's because you're trying to call the read passwords on the list and not each individual object in there. So the list doesn't have the read passwords method, it's actually the objects inside the list. So if you say, for example, readers index 0.read passwords, I think that would work. So I think that's your issue there. So just do a for loop in that.
Sorry, new baby. We have Max, baby.
Oh, no. Oh, shit. I think I dropped something. Oh, my God. I think I just told Tana to stop. I think she... Oh, my God. I told her to stab me. Tana, laugh. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
A tunnel to the center.
I can't go any faster than this. Because if I do, this happens.
Yep. The trailers are actually sometimes helpful for keeping.
I have to be really patient with this game. Breeze outside.
Welcome back. All right, so if we go into Helix and we take out this stuff, so this is no longer relevant to this file. I think all the rest of this is. This is going to break all our little example applications. So decode, parser is part of that, ISO is part of that. We decode timestamps because they are not explicitly using request. And I think what we had said, this is the only Helix thing we do. So helix.send is still a nice thing to write here. So we've kind of got two things. We've got twitch.helix exposing user ID and twitch.helix.request as helix, which puts that back into here for our local use. All right, so in the other apps we were doing, what's the more than one stream thing? All right, just keep myself from getting confused here. Stream credits. No, that's the Java. That's the compiled file. Right, because you were really using this as a library. So we've got twitch.helix exposing user ID and twitch.helix.request as helix. Which actually reminds me, do I have an app running here? You might be polling some stuff. And hosting clips. Okay, so you did not do user ID. Maybe I had a different user. Yeah, I did a persist user ID. So this is just going to be request, I think. Oh, I didn't do Kraken request. I forgot about that. There might not even be a Kraken module since I didn't have enough common stuff there to pull out. Now, have I fully... Yeah, these were not full example names. Which, it's verbose, but, oh. Dot hosts dot response. Well, even that is not accurate. There is no one shot for that anymore. Yeah, so you are request, and that doesn't have an example. Okay, so I believe that one was doing hosts. But you were not watching that directory. Okay, so you're there. Stream credits those hosts. We should only need request here. Yep. Okay. Now, for full-on library development, we probably want to start looking back at test stuff. Exposed modules. Oh, yeah, which means that you're gonna have to be request as well. Oh, we're gonna have a lot of exposed modules here. Geez. We may have had a interim Kraken decode here. Yeah. I don't. It is probably still in our test suite right now. That's going to make this very messy, though. Some of these will drop out as we get everything cleaned up. Yep. Decode, follow, game. Oh, there's request. Stream. Subscription. User. Video. And we're probably not watching that file. Exposed. Oh, right. You don't exist anymore. Okay, so the tests we had still pass. And then these are actually like kind of sub points. As individual field decoders in API group. Rather than whole response decoders. Anyway, something we need to not forget about. Well, that'll kind of follow along with the documentation side of things. Now, test. Since we have a bunch of individual modules, we want to do a bunch of individual tests. That certainly brought in a lot of stuff. Now, because I was decoding a big thing, it decodes a lot. If we're testing individual fields, we almost might as well be putting in actual expected data there. So I might kind of leave this alone. So we're going to have, well, I guess we can go alphabetically. So we're going to be primarily concerned with do we just bring in everything? Be testing all those methods. You don't really have anything except that. Oh, my other module still has the sample data. I suppose those should move to their individual files. The type decoders is actually going to be kind of a top level thing that would, you know, if we like did just this, it would move back to like a helix level thing. No. I don't think I'm going to need Decode's helper. Actually, these are the things we have. And we might need to do some more. So this was a Decode's test. And depending on what this ends up looking like, maybe we want to still have some sort of helper. User, not user ID. Well, actually, yes, user ID. From sample bits leaderboard. And we need to, there's probably an expect dot equal. And I'm forgetting how that got used in standard kind of tests. Actual expected. Here's where that sample comes into place. It could have, well, we could use a smaller name, but these are like kind of sideline now. And we expect that to equal. Oh, no, because we have to do, we're doing individual fields. But we actually have to do like response of user ID. And you have to be like decode.list, right? No, because it's doing a list of that normally. And you're having some printing errors. Bits leaderboard. That's the old one. Bits leaderboard. I'm running the test suite. Yeah, on Twitch API. Twitch, Helix, Bits leaderboards. We've typoed something here. Leadboard. All right, and then this stuff is all messed up. Oh, wait, no, we've not put in the... I was trying to figure out what the response would be. There. Result needs to be a result JSON decoder list of user IDs. So this will be slightly annoying. I wasn't thinking about the fact that a lot of the fields are going to be things like user IDs. Okay. Other things we have. Oh, too much. And maybe I should be, we can just split this. I'll be looking at you. We've got username. Let's see, so we've got decode string, we've got a custom decoder, and if we're doing it per file, we could have the sample built in there. And the response. So this would be a JSON.decode.decoder of something. And a result. So this is, yes, this is decoder and this is a result of a JSON decode dot. Now you see I had this here. And then an expect dot equal decode string, response, decoder. That's built in, and we expect it to equal expectation. So then that would be a decodes a user ID as that. Too many arguments. Oh, I lost the result. Expection. Oh. Yeah, the way I've set this up is by standard always a list. So unless I'm doing counter examples, I guess I could actually build the OK in. I could even set this up to say list.head is whatever we pass. Then you don't have to do one. And then you don't have to be a result at all. Although I can't do an equal then. I'd have to actually result map out to get the head of the list, assuming it was even an OK at all. That gave us 2 words. All right. Because username, and syntax change, and score. One, 2, 5, 4, 3. This feels like hand-edited data. Oh, but I was using the score. Int. Oh, but I left it in quotes. Oh. No, you've got a data. The field name. Oh. This should have been tier. It was just the other app that was using it as a score. Oh, no, it's called score. And I was apparently decoding nothing, and we didn't know because we didn't test it. And you know, if it's coded as 0, we wouldn't really have noticed. Oh. That's why I hate test data. Because that's not really significant for what we're doing. If we got okay, we're generally good. I could have kept my old just decode something. Because that was in fact a decoder failure. Alright, there's also the rank field. Which we expect to fail. So user ID, username, score, rank. Okay, and I believe, well, there's the date range stuff out of this one. It's a little bit of an unusual thing. Did we deal with that in our old decoder? No. So it's no worse. That was too much of a window alt. Okay, so next up would be clip going alphabetically. Okay, so right now we've got that. We do not have our sample in here. And there's all the documentation. And there is only one in this list. Okay, this is a video ID, I guess. Which is a very large word. Decode, yep, user ID. All right. And then probably a lot of things that we don't have decoders for. Including some large obnoxious values. I don't know we used this before. Okay, we did use URL before. Actually, hosting clips might have used embed URL. All right, so at this point, Oh, nope, I did not want to do that. The window switching is getting to me. We want to go back to here, do a regular split to clip, which there's still a lot of things that we might need to be switching to. But that gets rid of the window flipping. Broadcaster ID. I'm not sure we had that. Okay, we did. So we might have broadcaster name too. No. So broadcaster ID, wait. Oh yeah, broadcaster name is what we're adding. Plain old string. All right, next up. I don't think I would have dealt with those before. Program generation would be nice for the test suites, if not for the code itself. I think we're going to be missing both of these. Oh, we're definitely missing creator name, creator ID, yep. Okay, creator. Oh. Okay, so ID is like the slug. But there's also a video ID. All right, because we're dealing with this field here. We've been aliasing most of our IDs. But this is awkward because there's a video.id field. So, like, which one do you call video ID? Game ID. We might have had that one. I'm not sure. Well, I know I've had it somewhere. I just don't remember if I've had it here. Yeah. Now you we did have an alias for. I don't know if I brought it in. Well, we should only need this once. Oh, okay. It just took a long time to run. Language. Fairly certain I didn't do that one. Language string. Title should be just about the same. Although maybe I did title? No, I don't think so. Your title for streams. Right, a view count for streams. I don't think I did it for this. That was the viewer count, wasn't it? All right. Nope, that was the attribute name. This is view count, and this is an int. Almost done with the video. So create that. We should just be able to bring in a timestamp. Actually, no, create that we probably have. I just don't know if I can tell you what that's going to turn into. Oh, no, we don't have created at. Yeah, because it's created at versus when the clip itself was. I don't care about it necessarily as much. Actually, no. For the, I was thinking of videos. For clips, I never really looked at that. Now you are going to be like a helix dot timestamp. Which we have an imported time. This is another case where you only need it once, but I just tend to do that all the time. Right, we even have a type error. So to even see what the thing is, we have to do a time dot... Is it to or from? Can I find a time import? Oh, test. No, that's... Wait, where did I... Oh, you needed it. You also need it. Maybe not the POSIX. And then there's our... what that turns into, which is another annoying test case thing. And then thumbnail URL, which I don't know if I used that one. I think I did it for streams. Okay, I did. And you know what? I don't have the debug print in here anymore. Because we're actually comparing values rather than saying, well, it decoded, and then we're also printing it out to kind of check what it did. All right, so that's clip. Next up is follow. Follow, we're going to have to do sample follow, which we're going to have to get over there and available. So right now we've got a from ID and a from name and a followed at, which we have to actually get that. No, we don't have our sample yet. No, you need to go in a different file. And this is another thing where we have two values. Used for checking that we decoded arrays, annoying to make test cases for. All right, so we've got, well, I guess we've got the structure of the test. Which seems to be okay. from name. Nice typable things. And what we have right now is followed at, which is another lovely time. Got some weird selection here. I might be able to make that work. Oh, our indentation was off. Our indentation for all of these was off. I mean, maybe I should have just done some kind of... I guess I could do a type check on that one. Just like, hey, we don't actually do an equal here, but if you can call this, then... Well, doesn't check if it successfully decoded. Maybe check if it's okay somehow. Which is kind of what my other decoder test did. All right, now what we're missing is 2ID, 2name, which I don't know if I care that much most of the time. It does have the nice thing, it's going to be all the same for these. Most of my applications are all going the other way. Nope, can't repeat it. And those don't exist. I should use copy replace there, but 2 is so short. All right, and that's everything in the main body. Actually, games might be super simple. Well, there's some annoying fields there too. But that might be a decent place to break up all the testing stuff. The documentation of all these fields is going to be probably a particular trial as well. It was nice when you could say, this is the structure, and here's, and it has all its fields. But the Elm documentation system is going to want to comment on every single one of these things, even though it's just as per the API. We might be able to... Yeah, I mean, you could borrow some stuff from here. That I'd almost want to be doing some sort of like level 1 or some very, very basic program generation at that point. Which would kind of mean like fetching the page and like doing some HTML parsing. If indeed it's all straight up HTML. But I know that they're doing a API schema project, so if anything, we should probably wait until that's done. Anyway, that's probably enough for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for breaking some stuff for the bit. Support from all the subscribers. And everybody who hosted me. Let's see what's going on. See, I'm a little bit worried that that scroll is looking herky-jerky now. It didn't used to do that. Might be another thing to look into. Let's see. We've got some game dev. Actually, that might be an image viewer, but I know he's been doing a lot of game dev stuff. Unspecified programming. Well, there. Oh, You see, I was saying that one might be over, but it might also just be starting. I'm not entirely sure. But I do see somebody else is using Vim. They're programming in Rust, which I've heard some cool things about it. Never got into it per se. Particularly Rust pointer things, although I don't know exactly what that means, but it's cool to hang out. Bear Cool Cow says Muma is someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.